Faith in every footstep was exactly what Joseph Smith did. And we think because he spoke to God that it must have been immensely easier. Well, I'm sure that helped, but I don't think it made it immensely easier at all. He was still Joseph Smith.
He was known to say that there was nothing that the Lord was willing to reveal to him, Joseph, that the Lord was not willing to reveal to every member of the church as soon as they would be ready to receive it.
Well, the whole purpose of the knowledge that he was given was to bring others with him into the heavenly kingdoms, especially the celestial. And there's no reason to be territorial about any of that. And then when you realize, as he did very surely, that all of it comes from God, what claim do we have on it?
Everything he learned, both independently and dependently, was then immediately for the purpose of the community as a whole. He sought to share what he had learned.
Joseph Smith cared so much about other people. That's why he was so, an excellent teacher, an excellent man of God, because he had an open mind. He could understand the hearts of men.
He really, really loved his fellow men and women. He really wanted them to share the knowledge and the insight and the hope and the faith that he'd been blessed with.
And I think that the reason the prophet was so able to embody love, to share that charity, is because he experienced it firsthand with the very source of pure love.
Joseph had a great respect for his audiences. And that respect was derived from the revelations he was receiving.
It must have been thrilling for him to teach the people. This is what you may become. There is far more than ever you can imagine. The Lord has so much in store for us if we will but be faithful to him, if we will but endure to the end and stay true.
He saw in the people he was teaching the divinity that naturally existed in them, despite their weaknesses, despite whatever imperfections they had, because he recognized his own imperfections. And so the dynamics in that relationship between Joseph and his audiences was very unique.
And he wanted to raise his students, the saints, up. He wanted to give them every possibility of entering into the presence of the Lord. And I feel like teachers in Zion have got to look at their students in that same manner and see their potential. Look at them and try to feel about them the way the Lord looks at them and the way the Lord sees them.
He was a counselor too. He helped a lot of people who came to his house to look for his counsel.
He radiated something. I'm sure he radiated something that was felt by those people. It's an honesty, a love for them, an interest in what was going on with them, but a surety of what he knew to be true.
He went from home to home and person to person and gave blessings and healed people and loved people and cared about people and cried with people. I think he was a very personal prophet.
The fact that he disclosed to the public the chastisements that he would receive from the Lord, I think it's very telling of his honesty and reinforces this idea that he was not trying to place himself above anybody.
He was, even as a teacher, a great learner. Especially as a teacher, he was a great learner. He was open to finding truth wherever and whenever he could throughout his life. And so I think that gave him the combination of great love for his students, but also the sort of being side by side with them in the learning process, I think made him seem more like a peer than a traditional instructor. And that, I think, is something really worth emulating.
If you really want to lead a soul unto salvation, your mind must stretch to the highest of the heavens, the lowest of the abyss, the broadest of the expanse, and communicate with God, and then share that with the community for the betterment of the whole.
I try to recognize the intelligence in the broad sense, the intelligence, but also the divinity of my audiences and especially of my students as well. And this is one of the major things that I learned from the Prophet Joseph Smith.
My guiding light is people like Joseph Smith, because I view him as a person who didn't start out developed and great. He started out pretty regular, and he did a great thing.
I really feel that I'm here not only to teach Spanish, but to touch the life of young men and women that sometimes are desperate, that sometimes need an advice, and a hug, a smile.
These students here will probably go forward and build Zion throughout the world. If they have the experience here where they learn what it is to live that way, they'll take it with them, and it will be a powerful influence for good. I can see that growing fairly rapidly throughout the world.